Thank you.
Thank you.
The Dinner in Hell Band, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, audience. This is great. Hi, ladies.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Dinner in Hell, the podcast where amateur historians talk about the atrocious underbelly of history. I am one of those amateur historians, Brad the Impaler, and with me, as always, my friend and yours, the real Ron Maiden.
Hello, Brad. It's great to be here as always. I look forward to these talks of ours. Today we're going to go back as far as 660 AD Japan and discuss our first social class of people. It was a first for us.
Mm-hmm.
A group of people with some interesting rules and codes that they lived by.
Mm-hmm.
These people are none other than...
the samurai.
Wow. Our freaking sound guy that adds these samples, he's new to the show.
Mm-hmm.
He's still figuring it out. He goes, he's baby stepping it in with the sound effects.
Yeah, our first intern.
So we're talking about the samurai.
Yeah, we're talking about the samurai today. Everybody knows what samurai is, don't you?
Yeah, he's got sweet looking armor.
Yeah, like with like demon face on it and shit.
Horns coming up from the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Sword.
Yeah.
Samurai sword.
I mean, we've all seen good Kurosawa films. If you haven't, you need to get your ass out there and do it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everyone's seen that guy's films.
Akira Kurosawa is one of the greatest directors of all time. Well, what the samurai were is they were sort of a combination of a class of nobility, and they're pretty comparable to medieval knights in Europe. They started to appear in Japan around 660 AD, and they were a fixed social class, meaning you were born into being a samurai or you weren't a samurai. That's it.
So, like, you got these samurais walking around with these sweet armor but at the same time, they could be like some inbred idiot samurais. I mean, if you're born into it, it means like you're born into it, you're automatic samurai. What if this kid like is sucky?
Yeah, that would happen a lot. And there was a kind of a wide variance in terms of how samurai lived. When they weren't fighting for sort of their feudal lord, when they weren't fighting, some of them lived very cushy lives, depending on where their territory is, where they governed or where their lord governed. A lot of samurai would be, they'd be total badasses when war was going on, but when war wasn't going on, they would be farming. Like, they were farmers themselves. Their hut may have been a little bit bigger than the other guy's hut.
Yeah.
But a lot of them were closer to the bottom, and a lot of them were closer to the top. There was some variance.
So these guys born into this social class, just like royalty in like the European,
yes,
civilizations. Like if you're born into royalty, lucky you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're born into samurai, lucky you.
Yeah, they functioned and it was basically a feudal system. So you had the emperor, and then you had his lesser nobles. There were 12 ranks of nobility in the Japanese style of feudalism, and the samurai occupied the bottom 6 of those.
Just to compare the samurais to like European like warriors and soldiers, the samurais were also known to be highly like educated as far as warriors go. They were highly literate and also very good at mathematics.
Mm-hmm. They were government officials too, so they had to not only be at their peak fighting skill, they also had to be able to manage the day-to-day affairs of the empire, the kingdom.
I just wanted to add that a 16th century samurai was usually a very slim man. It was about 5'3" to 5'5". I mean, no big surprise. We're talking about Japan. Talking about their being good at mathematics. In 660 AD, they're already good at math.
Yeah, they're already kicking our ass.
Here they are walking around at 5'5" max. And like, for a comparison, a European knights were average between 6 and 6'5". Like, these are small men in these samurai armor. The armor was to project these guys as to be bigger than they actually were. That was another, it was part of intimidation too.
And the armor was lighter than the armor that European knights would have worn. European knights would have been in plate armor, plate mail.
Yeah.
And the
limited movement, like your neck and moving your helmet.
The scaled armor that the samurai wore was mostly leather, so they were a lot more nimble than their European counterparts would have been. They sort of emerged in an attempt to copy the Chinese style of bureaucracy. So the feudalism in Japan before that was sort of more nebulous and fluid, and the samurai emerged sort of as an attempt to standardize their government structure across all of Japan. Mm-hmm. They didn't stay subservient for forever, though. In around 1100 AD, the power in Japan began to sort of shift away from the centralized emperor to the local clans. And after this occurred, sort of 200 years later, the samurai class, I imagine by force, it sort of became the ruling power in Japan. And the head samurai was called the shogun.
Right.
And the shogun was the military dictator of Japan until the early 1800s.
Can you imagine, like, the samurais are all putting ballots in for who should be shogun?
I don't think there was a whole lot of voting going on.
The shogun campaign of 1100 AD.
Mm-hmm. I think it passed down. It was hereditary. So, if your old man was the shogun, you'd be the shogun next.
Mm-hmm.
So the shogun of Japan. Japan was led by a shogun until 1868.
1868. Imagine being president and like having to like meet with the shogun. Like, okay, let's see. We got Obama. I'm gonna go back and figure out Obama, Clinton, Bush, Reagan, Carter. It's okay. So we're talking like Ulysses Grant is gonna head over for like UN meetings with the shogun and have peace talks, Like, can you imagine it? Can you imagine the possibility of like presidential-elect Trump having a meeting with the shogun? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah. I have to imagine
have him run his mouth.
Yeah, I have to imagine he wouldn't have been leaving Kyoto with his head. I don't think they would have tolerated his disrespectful ass for more than 2 seconds.
They would have sent back like a ball of blonde hair, like in a satchel. This is how the meeting went.
And we need to. You can't talk about the samurai without mentioning what gave them sort of their immense power, and that is the katana. That is a combination of folding soft and hard steel together, which made what is widely regarded as the best edged weapon ever to have existed on the planet Earth. It was very, very strong. It's really one of the things that made the samurai so effective, as well as Japan being an island country at defending from mostly Chinese aggression during their time period of power.
Like before the katana, they just used simple swords that were almost common until one lucky blacksmith figured out a blend of metals to make this sweet katana blade. And apparently it's supposed to be the greatest edge weapon ever made.
Yeah, it's really, really strong for a sword. And it's capable of doing all kinds of damage from slashing or thrusting.
Right. You could poke into some bellies with that thing.
Samurai also carried several swords. Mm-hmm. They would usually have their katana, which would be their longest weapon. They would also have a short sword and a dagger-like sword called a tanto as well.
When in around the 16th century, when gunpowder was invented, the samurais started carrying. They also carried a bow with their swords, but they freaking dropped the bow and started carrying like a single shooter gun. Mm-hmm. Since gunpowder made it easier. Remember in Indiana Jones when he walks up on that guy and he's like whipping that sword around like he's like, oh, screw this, and he just shoots him. That's sweet.
In the documentary.
Remember Indiana
Raiders
Jones?
of the Lost Ark.
Remember Indiana Jones? Remember?
Named after a dog.
Named a dog Indiana.
I have a lot of criticism of Raiders of the Lost Ark though, because that movie
negatively projected an image of the Nazis.
No, it would have been, the outcome would have been exactly the same, even if you completely erase Indiana Jones from it. So like he sets out to stop the Nazis from recovering the Ark of the Covenant, right?
Right.
The Nazis recover the Ark of the Covenant. Then they open it like they were planning to the whole time, and then in a twist of irony, the Jew magic eats them. It's like, he didn't have anything to do with it. He could have sat on his couch and kicked his feet up and everything, and Raiders of the Lost Ark would have happened exactly like it would have in the end.
Right.
He didn't do anything.
Yeah, he could have friggin' found something else. Like, just move on, different item.
Yeah.
Like the Grail.
It is satisfying to watch the Jew magic eat the Nazis, though.
Melting wax. Don't look at it!
So there is some fucked up things regarding that katana that gave the samurai all that power. That is tameshigiri, or test cutting. And what that is when there was a new sword, or when a particular samurai would develop a new fighting method, they would take the sword and test it by cutting either cadavers or commonly condemned criminals.
That's so awful.
Yeah, so there were a few different types of cuts. So there were ankle cuts, there were hip cuts,
yeah,
there were cross cuts. So they'd cut like diagonal upwards or downwards, starting at a shoulder. And it's common that the swords of that period would be inscribed with what they were capable of. So there's one sword that was listed as 5 bodies with a hip cut.
So when you say that, I just imagine 5 guys standing next to each other, probably blindfolded. I don't know. I mean, who knows?
Or it could have been cadavers for this. I don't have any further
maybe
information.
Hanging.
Yeah.
Cadavers hanging. And then the guy just goes from right to left and goes, hey!
And cuts completely
with
through
one stroke?
5 people with one stroke, yes.
So, to give you an example of how much force he's swinging the sword and how sharp the sword is, he's cutting through 5 spines.
Yep.
Like, you try to cut, like, let's say you make a chicken, and you're trying, I'm with the leg, so now you got to cut the freaking leg off the chicken. It's, like, hard. You're like, where do I start cutting at? This guy just cut through backbones. Like,
yeah, 5 people in one stroke, according to the inscription on the blade.
So you become a samurai, and they're like, now it's time to give you your sword. And you're like, okay, I hope I get the fucking 5-body sword, dude. Please, 5-body sword. And they're like, you get the fucking Achilles tendon sword. You're like, what? The fuck? I want 5-body sword.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'd want the 5-body sword.
I need a sword I can count on in battle.
Yeah, and they're awesome tools, so they last for a long time. And if you find a katana with an inscription like that on it, it is worth lots of money. A little PSA there for you.
Yeah, and do not have Randy Jackson autograph it whatsoever if you're at an airport.
Yeah, there was one criminal who was about to suffer this fate who was quoted as saying he wish he would have known because he would have swallowed a bunch of rocks to mess up the blade.
I wish I would have known I was getting disemboweled. I would have ate a bunch of dog shit. Really give you a surprise. Go out with a bang. This is about legacy.
Yeah. And so one of the things that a lot of people know about samurai is their behavior was governed by a code.
Okay.
Yeah, like a code of honor. And that is Bushido.
Bushido.
Yeah, the way of the samurai. Bushi means samurai, sort of. Okay. So the Bushido code involves 8 virtues: integrity, heroic courage, benevolence, respect, sincerity, honor, duty, self-control.
Self-control.
And
I couldn't be a samurai.
No, I got none of that stuff.
If you had like friggin' tapioca pudding and something in the fridge, that self-control goes right out the window for me.
Yeah.
Fucking drumstick ice cream in the freezer. It's like 10 p.m.
It's done. It's getting destroyed.
I have to like do a formal sword to the belly in my kitchen.
Once I start like scrapbooking,
like dishonoring
I
my
can't
code.
stop. Once I'm putting those fun little borders in, it's over. I can't do 4 or 5 pages. I gotta fill it up.
When you're putting ice cream decals and around pictures of your dog and shit.
I'm up with glitter and a hot glue gun, 4:30 in the morning, but eyes red, twitching, just putting those pictures together, making those memories because I can't stop. I can't control myself.
Now I know I can get you a gift certificate for Christmas for the Scrapbooks Emporium. All right. Bushido.
Yeah, but of course, as you may have guessed due to the podcast you're listening to, there's a whole lot of ways that the samurai seem to completely disregard that code.
I know you guys are sitting here listening going, get to the awful shit. That's why I'm listening. It's for the awful part. How are you going to shock me today, Dinner in Hell? And this is where we get into it.
So one way that they ignored the hell out of that code, at least in my opinion, would be the Wakashudo, or the Way of the Youth.
Oh, Jesus.
What this practice in samurai culture was in regards to is the relationship between a samurai and his apprentice. It was generally the realm of the samurai to teach his apprentice how to fight, how to govern, all of his education.
Math, skills.
Yep.
Literacy.
It was generally handed down from one samurai to an apprentice. But it wasn't the only thing that was handed down.
Scrapbooking tips?
Scrapbooking tips? I'm sure.
They probably had tons of scrapbooks back then.
Mm-hmm. And they also
Pieces of flesh.
were encouraged to have a sexual relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to say that. I mean, that's obvious.
Yeah, so samurai, they wanted them to have a close bond.
Yeah.
So they were encouraged to have also the bond of lovers.
Lovers bond.
Yeah.
You take lovers walks, lovers stabs together.
Mm-hmm. And also drill one another. Or, you know what? I'd be more inclined to say that the apprentice was probably on the receptive end of it much more often.
This was so common. This was such a common practice that if a samurai and his apprentice weren't doing this, it was considered odd and like, what's up with them? Like, this was such a common thing. Like, this isn't shocking back then. This is normal. So if you didn't do this, then there's something going on between you two, and freaking Shogun's going to find out and get down to the bottom of it.
Yeah, it was definitely the practice. And I got to tell you, I've had a lot of jobs, and not one of them would I be willing to apprentice for in the Waka Shudo fashion.
Yeah, I'm just I'm an apprentice for an electrician apprentice, and yeah, we were just going out of town just the other day. A journeyman decided he wanted to teach me the ways of lovers, and I had to decline because it's not my forte. On the basis, now hear me out. On the basis that you're born gay, there's some people that don't believe that, but we're gonna go on the basis that you are.
But yeah.
We're gonna go on the basis that you are born gay. You're programmed already at fetus.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say the samurai was having a sexual relationship with his same-sex apprentice, does that count as gay sex, or does that just count as sex? Because
they might not necessarily have been gay. I mean, it's doubtful that many of them were gay.
Like, I'm just asking you, is that considered gay? Because there would be a time when the samurai, his apprentice, would become a man and have a family of his own.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he wasn't like an apprentice forever. He became a samurai, and then he would start his own family.
Yeah.
Do you think that samurai that started his new family ever went back to doing gay stuff?
Well, if he had an apprentice samurai, he definitely did.
Right. But is it considered gay, or is it just considered like sex?
Well, I don't know how attracted they would have been to one another. That's the odd thing.
Like, do you think he's eyeballing his apprentice? Like, I want to get some of that, or do you think it's just like time for sex? It's sex time. Get in here. Get in the.
Probably something like that. Because it seems. I mean, I don't think I'd be into it.
Yeah, I mean,
like, I'm straight.
Yeah.
So
then again, you got guys that are born straight and go to prison and are forced to not be straight.
Yeah.
And maybe they come out all of a sudden like loving gay sex.
Well, see, I don't think they would. It's probably like a situational thing. Just because they I don't know. I don't know. I've never been to prison.
Or samurai camp.
That's true.
There's also Onabugisha.
What's that?
That was actually when there was a rare instance where it was a woman was paired up as an apprentice with the male samurai, and they would do the same thing with the woman.
Oh, I wasn't aware of a female samurai.
Because it's so rare. But they analyzed DNA from a famous battle, including samurais, and of the samurai corpses, 10% of the corpses were actually female. And there's not a lot of mention of female fighting as samurais, but it did exist. And then they also did that apprentice deal that you were talking about with the same sex. They did it with females too. So
That's pretty cool. I had no idea there were female samurai. That's awesome, though.
So you got a couple samurais that are like, I want female. God damn it. Tired of the same sex shit. Females are good at fighting.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I was a samurai, maybe it's just so expected of them that they're just like, well, time to do it, you know? Yeah. I don't know, because I can't imagine. I wouldn't get fired up over it.
Yeah. You think like a samurai would be walking down the city streets and see like a hot, attractive female and be like, I'm going to use my apprentice. Check it out. Part of being an apprentice is part of doing it when I want.
Well, they'd have to be born into that class.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So they'd have to be women in the samurai class.
Talking samurais here. Real samurai talk. Oh, at the peak of their power, up to 10% of Japan's population was samurai.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's in a long tradition of history, the minority ruling the rest of them.
The samurais influenced Japan's history so much so that they say today every living Japanese person is to have some samurai blood in them. They had such a strong influence on the Japanese history that today they claim that every single living Japanese person has some samurai blood in them.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm part samurai.
If I was Japanese, I would think that was even cooler.
If I was Japanese, I'd be like putting samurai shit on the back of my car, like decals and shit. It's about heritage, bro. Like people from the South that move up north with like Confederate flag stickers. It's not racist, bro. It's about heritage. Like got samurai stickers on the back of your Jeep.
Oh, God.
What does that mean, man? This is America, man. Well, I don't care. I'm part samurai.
If I saw somebody that was claiming samurai-dom, I'd just be like, you need to listen to this episode of Dinner in Hell. You need to learn about Wakoshudo.
Like, do you have Facebook?
Okay, so another fucked up thing about the samurai is the practice of tsujikiri, or crossroads killing. What that meant is, well, before 1602, when it was finally outlawed, a samurai who had a new sword or a new technique and just wanted to test it out could just walk out into the street and kill the first person they saw. Like
gang initiation?
I guess, but the other person would have no clue it was coming, and the samurai would just walk up and just slice him.
God damn it. I was thinking, you got like an open carry katana permit. Fucking walking around, I got an open carry katana, man. I bet a lot of samurais spend a lot of walks down city streets, like empty streets. People saw samurais coming, they're like, get inside, get off the streets, samurai coming. They had little whistles. That meant like samurai in area, and you're like, close the doors, take all your market away, because they'll just cut you in half.
Yeah, I would definitely be ducking the hell out of samurai walking around my town. I see one coming, I'm going the other way. Be ready to run.
Were you allowed to run from samurai?
If you get away, I assume you are.
Get back here. No,
I'm boogieing, man. I'm out of town.
They're like, how's the neighbor? How's like the samurai has to report back to like his like district leader guy, and you're like, so how's the city streets going? Everything good? Like, yeah, there's freaking hardly anybody on the street. It's crazy. I never see anybody. Yeah. And what are you talking about? It's crazy populated over there. Every time I go out, everyone's gone.
Yeah, because I would be ducking them hard. You better believe that.
Imagine a freaking samurai. He doesn't even have a new weapon like strike form. You know how you said that they would be allowed to practice a new form of attack just to see if it worked? He's just like, yeah, I got this new form, man. But he really just wants to he's like serial killer samurai. He's got a fucking hunger for killing.
Yeah, like if he comes up to me and slices my arm off, and I'm like, come on, man, I saw you do that shit last week. I know it's not new.
No, but I twisted a quarter twist. You didn't notice the detail, but I came at you last time, or you saw me last time with the straight. This time I came 45 degree. So you're wrong. And you have one arm now. Take care.
Bullshit.
No charges pressed.
It's bullshit.
Wait till 1602, then you can have your little rights. But until then, I'm chopping anybody I want in half.
God.
Fucking samurai. Starting to despise samurai.
I wouldn't have wanted to be anywhere near the samurai that was in charge of me. I can tell you that much.
Sometimes I think about samurais, I just get all freaking worked up. Such bullshit.
And again, I'm flabbergasted at how horrible it would have been to live at any point before now.
For a few episodes there, we really had it was really bad for women. I think today this is more open. I like this. Yeah,
some 10% of the samurai were women, I guess. Yeah. They were participants in this nonsense.
Yeah. This is our most, girl power episode, I think. And it's basically because no women died, right?
Yeah, but not so far. But it's really hard to have any sort of girl power episodes when you're talking about history.
Dinner in Hell's most feminine episode yet. Not one woman dies.
And women don't do that much fucked up stuff compared to men. Some, but not as much as us. We're way worse.
Yeah, they do it mentally. Play games.
Break it down slow.
They play their little games.
Well, sort of a related concept to the Crossroads killing is Kirisute Gomen, which is the right to cut and leave.
I like how you just name these off the top of your head. I love your Japanese knowledge.
Yeah.
It's great.
Fluent in Japanese, in case you didn't know.
Did you work in a Japanese restaurant or something? Like, how do you get this?
I just absorb it.
Man.
And it's perfect.
Just like I can go back and do presidents.
Yeah.
You just freaking bust out dialects from 660 AD and shit. It's nice. I
am definitely not looking at anything that has these rare words written on it right now.
That's the Dinner in Hell advantage. I got this guy, Brad, the Impaler, with a brain like a sponge.
Well, so what the Kirisute Gomen meant was that a samurai could kill a common person for any offense and just walk away. Now, offense, you might be thinking crime. No. What I mean is anything that offends the samurai. So, if you shoot a samurai a dirty look, he can murder you and he doesn't even have to wait for anybody else to come, check it out. He can just walk away.
Give me your number one reason why you would give a samurai a dirty look.
Probably because he just test cut his sword on somebody in front of me.
Right. That's what I was thinking, too. My God damn it, you killed my neighbor.
Yeah,
last week. Why do you think I'm looking at you like this?
Smelled bad or some shit. Maybe I'd give him a little side eye.
Now, if you were a samurai, what do you think your most common kill would be if you were to walk around, downtown?
I don't even have to think about it. It would be people who take more than 12 items to the fucking self checkout.
Oh my God!
I would be slaughtering people left and right.
Shish kebabbing them.
Yeah, or people. When you're driving through a parking lot and
5 torso.
All 3 self-checkouts, just take them all out at once.
Guts everywhere.
You each have fucking 20 items in here, and it's horse shit.
Bag it.
Yep. And walk away because of my right to cut and leave as a modern-day American samurai.
Bring your own body bag, so you don't have to use a Meyer bag.
Or people who hold the door open for you, but when you're 50 feet away, so you feel inclined to run towards the door, they'd be getting it. They're done.
Oh. What were you saying about parking lot?
Oh, when people cross the street or a parking lot in front of you while you're in your car and they don't walk in a straight line, they walk on a really long diagonal, so they're in your way forever.
Yeah. Cross the street, get that problem solved. I can go on. Don't. Yeah. Or you're driving through the parking lot, grocery store, and they're in the middle of the driving lane. Motherfucker, get to the edge of the backs of the cars so I can drive. This is where cars drive.
Yeah, come on. I got a lot of grocery store etiquette gripes. We should start a whole nother podcast.
We should have
just
a whole.
For those.
Dude, we need to get spears involved, not this katana shit. How about this one? This is my last one. This one. It really sticks with me. Besides, I would be slicing heads off of litter bugs one after the other. When you're at a stop and the other person's at a stop too, and it's their right of way, but they wave for you to go ahead. But for me, my whole mental timing is you have the right of way, go.
Yeah, just go.
You're fucking up the flow of the earth by letting me go ahead of your right of way. I'm not going to wave to you, thanks. I'm just going to be irritated with you. And you're lucky I don't pull out my katana and fucking cut you in half.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
Yep, everyone deserves that.
Old lady.
Yeah. Fucking slow as shit.
Old lady guts all inside of her Mercury sable.
Another really fucked up thing about samurai, and this is bizarre, is the ritual suicide of seppuku. Now, what this was is a samurai who had been defeated or had in some way dishonored himself would be expected to take his own life and do so with an audience.
Or like on the battlefield if he was taken captive.
Mm-hmm. Or after, if it wasn't for something he had done to dishonor himself, he would do this before an audience in like a ritual setting. So what they would do is the samurai would take their tanto, or their short blade, and they would plunge it into their own abdomen and then make a cut from the left to the right, disemboweling themselves.
Of course.
If you were lucky, if you still had friends after whatever sort of shame you brought on yourself, you could have a friend who would, as soon as you made the cut, take your head off with a katana as a favor to you to get it over with quickly.
A formal seppuku is actually, like you said, what did you say it was a ceremony?
Yeah, ceremony for it.
So a formal seppuku would be a long ritual. It starts with a ceremonial bathing. Okay. The samurai would be in I believe, a white robe. He would be given his last meal, just like the last meal in prison. Here you go, lamb chops. And then after he finishes his meal, like the attendant that's in the room with him would hand him a blade and set it on the empty plate. Then the samurai would have to write a death poem, like his final words of life, and then do the fucking stabbing his own gut and slice back and forth. And then the attendant would be, like you said.
Yeah, but not always. If you were particularly shamed, if you didn't have friends, nobody was lopping your head off.
Well, this is a formal one. Sometimes the attendant would cut the guy's head off so precise that a flap of skin would remain in the front, so the head would just fall into the samurai's embrace and dangle and not make a mess, like not fly over here, like less cleanup.
I assume you remove a head, there's going to be a lot of blood everywhere.
But less blood if the head remains, I guess, in front of him. I'm reading this from research.
I mean, at least it's not rolling around all over the place, I guess. But still, yikes, that's horrible. I can't believe the amount of self-control it would take to do that. And especially with people, like, looking at you. It'd be unbelievable to be in that situation. Like, this is what I got to do now.
I mean, people showed up for hangings.
Yeah, but the hanged person wasn't a willing participant in it, usually. I don't think.
Right. I mean, people wanted to see shit back then. There wasn't anything else to see. People want to see stuff. People want to hear stuff, like podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
But people want to see stuff. Like, it's all we want to do is look at shit. So, if you have no other means of entertainment except, like, music and dancing, then you're going to have to show up to the execution, whether it's suicide or firing squad. You're probably going to be there.
Yeah.
Feed them to lions. People are watching that shit. It's not fun. So if you had to disembowel yourself because of some dishonor you've committed, which friend would you choose to have behead you? Just write their name down on a $5 bill and send it to us at the address on our webpage. We would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. We'll read everything that's written on a $5 bill that we get on the air.
Pen, pencil. If you're going to use pen, just do it nice and light and neat. Don't take up the whole. Don't deface the money. Just write the person's name and we'll read each one.
Yeah. All right, so if you want to talk to us about Samurai or anything else, you can hit us up on Twitter at Dinner in Hell Pod. You can email us at dinnerinhellpodcast@gmail.com. We are on Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher. Wherever you download us, please don't forget to rate and review. It helps us a lot. We can't forget the Dinner in Hell band playing us out. Let's go, gentlemen.
Heck of a band.
Thank you. Oh, thank you to the studio audience. They've been incredible today.
It's awesome to see everyone's faces. It makes it that much better to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very passionate today. Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, Ron.
integrity, heroic courage, benevolence, respect, sincerity, honor, duty, self-control.